I've spent the last two commentaries lambasting Kimya II, the latest military operation in the Congo, for achieving very little at all, but costing an enormous amount in human life. And it would appear that my diagnosis is not alone. The UN chief in the Congo has finally come to his senses and declared just this week that Kimya II is coming to an end at the end of this month. You just can't trust what the United Nations says about the Congo. The Security Council has passed resolution after resolution directing the UN peacekeeping forces called MONUC to protect the women against sexual violence, and they've utterly failed to do so. To be fair, MONUC could argue that they didn't have the material, like helicopters, to defend the women. But whatever the explanation, whatever the rationalization, the fact is that the women have been led as lambs to the slaughter. Worse, the UN had 12 agencies in the Congo, count them, 12, united allegedly in a determination to protect the women from sexual violence. They failed abysmally. Only UNICEF and the Office for Humanitarian Affairs had any personnel or resources whatsoever that might have done the job. And it took the UN 2 years to fashion a program of action to protect the women, and please believe me, the program of action is a piece of superficial nonsense. Extraordinarily enough, it took the NGOs, Human Rights Watch, International Crisis Group, V-Day, the NGO created by Eve Ensler, the author, dramatist of the Vagina Monologues, to sound the alarm and to intervene on behalf of the women. They did more as a small little group than all of the UN agencies put together, and they did it with 1/1000th of the resources. In the meantime, at the Panzi Hospital in Bukavu, in the war-torn region of the Congo, Dr. Denis Mukwege and his indomitable group of surgeons attempt to repair the reproductive tracts of the women shredded by the mass raping, and then they test the women to see how many are HIV positive. These are the women called collateral damage by the UN Security Council and by the UN mission in the Congo. A pox on them both. I'm Stephen Lewis.